Hi everyone, I am Katie, the Crafty Blog Stalker, and in today's episode I'm going to show you how to make a simple felt trivet using the Cricut Explorer Air 2, a super easy craft that is perfect for gift giving as well as keeping out all winter long. So let's get started. So these are the three felts that we're going to be using. We've got a royal blue, kind of a teal, and then this lighter mint blue right here. Now these sheets of felt are thicker than the standard sheet, and you can kind of see right there their thickness of how thick they are. The first thing that we need to do before we cut our felt on our Cricut is we need to prep the felt. So we need to give it a stiffener. So what I recommend doing is creating your own stiffener with some Mod Podge. And I would use matte, otherwise it makes it shiny. Whatever side you put this on is gonna become the back, so it doesn't really matter if it's shiny. And basically all you're going to do is pour equal parts of the matte Mod Podge and water into a cup. You're gonna mix it up. I'm not actually gonna do it because you have to let it dry. So you mix it up and then you just paint it onto the back of the felt. And then you do have to let it dry for several hours or overnight. If you are not familiar with Cricut, and they do have an online design space that you can use, and that's what I've got on right here. And I've already created my file. I made it super duper easy. So all I have to do is to go in here, my projects, and I've got my snowflake right there. So you can see it pulls up my snowflake. I've already got it sized to the exact size that I want it to be. I am going to pull my computer over here and pull my Cricut back in, because of course I know you guys want to see the cutting, because that is totally the fun part. So to cut the trivet, I've got my mat here. This is a sticky mat. It's for the Cricut. This is actually their strong grip mat. So since I'm working with something that's not paper, I need a mat that has a little bit of extra stickiness to it. So I'm gonna take off that sheet, and that's just kind of to protect the mat so it doesn't get hair and everything on it. And I'm just going to make sure I'm putting that stiffer side onto the mat. And I'm gonna lay it down right where I want it. And then to make sure it's nice and stuck, I've just got this little, I don't even know what this tool is called, but just to push that felt onto the machine, or I'm sorry, onto the mat so it's good and stuck. So now I'm going to open the machine. This is my favorite part. We get to open the machine again. You ready? I won't sing this time, I promise. La la. Okay, I sang. Dang it! So we opened our machine. We are all plugged in, so I'm just gonna turn it on up here with this button. And it's gonna whir, and just make sure that everything's working properly right when you first turn it on. So now I'm going to go back to my computer. I can't really show you both at the same time, but there is a just a little green go button that you can click that tells the Cricut you are ready to cut. And so I said I'm ready to cut because my snowflake is all ready to go. And then I'm gonna click go. Inside the Cricut machine are two little guides right here. So I'm just gonna slide my mat in as far as it'll go. I'm not gonna force it, just slide it in right under these little guides. And I am going to, on my computer, I'm going to select wool felt, which tells me what type of material I'm cutting. Now the Cricut can seriously cut like 30 different types of material, all the way from paper and vellum, super duper fine, up to wool felt, leather, foam, tons of stuff. So that's why I love the Cricut so much. Now I should also say I do have, there is the standard cutting blade, and there is a deeper cutting blade. I can't think of what it's called. I do have the deep cutting blade in there. So for if you're cutting anything thick, you will need to make the purchase of that additional blade. I need it to be tucked in so it's right underneath those rollers. There we go. And when I load it, it's gonna suck that mat in. So now this little C button right here is blinking, so that tells me it's ready to cut. So I just need to hit that button and it's going to start cutting. Now with felt, it will kind of look like that blade is pulling at the felt, and it does a little bit, but not a whole lot. If it gets tangled, the machine, and stuck, the machine will stop on its own and you'll get a red flashing light saying something's wrong. So it won't like just keep making itself do it when it's not good for it. Now since this is also a thick material, it is going to go around each cut several times. So it's probably going to take like 3 to 4 minutes for each piece of felt that we're cutting. We're cutting a fairly simple file, but since we're cutting that thick material, it just wants to make sure that it's cut all of the way through. So we're done with the first one. So this little light right here is blinking. So I'm just gonna hit that. It's going to push the mat out. And all I'm going to do is pull the felt off and just kind of pop that out the rest of the way. It comes out really pretty easily. I do have a pair of scissors handy, and I'll show you why here in just a sec. So there is our first leaf, this isn't a leaf, it's a snowflake. So isn't that cool? Cut that out really, really well. So before I show you the other thing, what I'm gonna use my scissors for, I'm just gonna get the other one started since it does take a couple minutes. Now I do have a pair of scissors because as you can see, there are like some little fluffy parts on the snowflake that I just want to cut away. So by using a pair of scissors, I can just easily cut off those pieces where the blade kind of pulled up the felt and loosened some of those fibers. My light is blinking, so it's saying unload me. So I'm gonna hit that. It's gonna push out my mat. And this time I'm actually going to, because I've cut out all 3 of my layers, I'm gonna turn it off and I'm gonna shut it and put it away. I know, sad. Bye, Cricut. Now we've got our last snowflake here. I'm just gonna pull that off of the mat. Now, one thing I like to do, just so I don't forget later, is now that I'm done with the mat, I'm gonna put this sheet protector back on it right away. This clear sheet protector thing just kind of keeps all the dust and hair, because I have lots of hair that likes to fall out all the time. So it just keeps all of that extra stuff off of the mat when I'm not using it, so it's still good and sticky when I am ready to use it. So put that protector back on as soon as you're done with it, and now I'm just going to remove the snowflake. Now, as you can see right here, it is still attached just a little bit, but that's okay. Don't be alarmed. It is a thick fabric that's fuzzy and has lots of fibers. So the main part of it is still cut. It's just got this little section that didn't want to release. So I'm just gonna use my scissors and just cut that away. So then I'm gonna push out all of these little middle triangle pieces. Now this light blue is going to be the top of my trivet. So I am going to pay a little bit closer attention to this piece because I do want this piece looking fabulous, because it is going to be the piece that is on show. So I'm just going to kind of go around with my scissors. Since we are working with a thick felt material, there are going to be fibers there. So I'm going to start with the bottom one, and I'm going to keep them all facing the same way. So on all of my snowflakes, I've got the stiff side on the bottom and the soft and fuzzy side on the top. So I'm going to layer them all facing the same direction. I'm going to use this tacky glue. It's called, I think it's called Aleene's tacky glue, but it's just a craft glue that you can pick up at any craft store, and that's what I'm going to use to put them all together. Now before I do this, I do just want to line these up, make sure that they're lined up. They are the same file, but I don't think that each corner or each edge of the piece of the snowflake is identical. I think they are off just a little bit, so I'm just going to keep going around until I find the way that they are identical, to where I can't see the darker blue through the top layer. So that looks like those are both the same way. So now I'm going to take my glue and I'm just going to dab it around I'm going to start with the outside and just go basically around the edge of my snowflake. And I'm going to take my lighter shade snowflake, which is kind of the teal color. I'm going to match it up and just push it into place. Again, paying careful attention to those points on my snowflake, because if the glue comes apart anywhere, it will probably be at those points. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same exact thing with this last layer. First, I want to line it up. Ooh, I think that was a lucky guess. Yep, I think we're good. So again, same thing. I'm gonna go around the outer edge of the snowflake, paying close attention to the points of my snowflake. And I'm gonna place that over, making sure all of my points line up. Isn't this felt trivet so stinking cute? I love the ombre look on the side, how you can just see it going from lighter to darker, and it matches my winter theme perfectly, so I can keep it on my dining room table all season long. I want to thank you for joining me today. While you're here, I would love for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any of my upcoming tutorials. And you can also always find me at my blog at thecraftyblogstalker.com. Thanks for joining me, everyone. Bye, and happy crafting!